I'm not gonna lie to you. This point in my life, it's not a lot that's shocked or surprised me. But Tuesday night, something shocked and surprised me. I was flipping through the different channels and I saw a preview, the Black Panthers, and I'm like, wait a minute, ABC's talking about the Black Panthers, so I gotta see this. Now, reason why I decided to see this because I wanted to see what distortions or half truths or heavily edited Black Panther story would be. To my surprise and to my shock, they told the correct story of the Panthers. They talked about how President Nixon, J. Edgar Hoover, Richard Daley, the mayor of Chicago, Edward Hanahan, state's attorney, gave the orders across the country to go after and destroy, take out, terminate the Black Panthers. But the one they went after, Fred Hampton, that made big news because Hanahan and them got on TV and swore up and down that Fred Hampton, Matt Clark or Matthew Clark, I believe his name. Believe me, if I misspoke the brother's name, please forgive me. And Fred's girlfriend, pregnant girlfriend at the time, that's the mother of his son, who's Fred Hampton Jr., was in the house on the west side having to firefight a police officers. Now the Panthers had guns, but they didn't have no way the Panthers had an arsenal the Chicago police or the FBI or the United States military had. What some of the Panthers had, they grew up in the South. They were used to hunting. A lot of them brothers came back from the service. A lot of brothers had friends that taught them how to fire guns. And the idea of black people using weapons the way white people have used weapons against us for hundreds of years spooked them. And these brothers and sisters may not have been geniuses, but they had common sense. They were smart enough to use the laws. Now, Ronald Reagan made sure in California changed the gun laws. Because remember, when Panthers was walking around with guns, all of a sudden they started getting worried about guns. That's why the NRA is the way it is today to keep us from having guns. If they so pro-gun, why don't they advocate for black people to have gun ownership? You know they never do that, but they want to get and people tell you about abortions and stuff and all the other stuff. But I digress. But the other night when I watched ABC, I sat there and I said, "This is not capital cities that used to own ABC. This is the Disney Corporation. They own Marvel comics, Star Wars, these various other franchises and stuff. ESPN, you name it. They own this stuff. Their corporate mascot is a damn mouse." But then again, I thought about it. I said, well, ABC had a history back in the 70s, Roots, and the subsequent sequels to it, although they didn't carry the same oomph as Roots did. But the fact that was way back in the 70s. A lot of us wasn't even born. I was in diapers when Roots came on. But I do remember re-airing it years later when I had to be maybe about 5 or 6, if that. And then you had shows like Family Matters, the Hughleys. Even though the Hughleys went one season and currently black, ABC doesn't have. I mean, they had other black shows that people forgot. The New Odd Couple, He's the Mayor, and some other. Steve Harvey. What's that? Steve and the Boys. What do they call his show? Thea, Sister. But they only last a season. It went into syndication with the WB, if I'm not mistaken. So they've had black shows, but the success of them, the most successful ones to this day is Family Matters and Blackish. But notice those are comedies. And when you do dramedies like the show with Kerry Washington and them, Shonda Rhimes stuff, it's usually at the expense of the black community or black men in particular. So for them to air this documentary, this narrative from the side of the Panthers or something just blew my head away. But then again, I think they noticed that there are a lot of black folk, myself included, who are on social media who are talking about this part. Now mind you, Fred Hampton died way before I was born. If Fred Hampton was alive today, he'd be a 71-year-old man. He's a grandfather. I think his son has children, if I'm not mistaken. So he would have probably been around to enjoy his grandchildren. But they lied. The Chicago police, they went through this whole elaborate thing, lied. And back then, they didn't think that black folks were smart. Back then, they didn't cordon off, like they do today with yellow tape and board stuff up. Nah, back then, they left it what it as is. They figured the Negroes on the west side didn't know any better. They did. The Panthers was smart enough to have people get cameras. They got lawyers. Went in. They showed the bloody floor where Fred and the other brother died. They showed the bloody bed. They showed the bullet holes in that building. But people forget that the Panther headquarters right off the corner of Madison and Western was raided before. But Fred Hampton, he was a new leader. You have to understand, Martin was assassinated a year prior. The West Side went in flames that year prior. And Fred and them said, "Nah, we're gonna do something different. We're gonna approach it a different way." They had brothers go out there and meet white folks from Appalachia. They had white guys from Appalachia, left Appalachia, come to Chicago and sit in the room and say, "I stand with the Black Panther Party," because those white guys realized it wasn't black folk that kept them down. It wasn't black folks that took their jobs. It was other white folks, educated, so-called educated white folks that screwed them over. They realized that, and that made Fred Hampton dangerous because he spoke to people. He said, they said, "Our issues are the same. We for the people. Power to the power people." You know how they say what? Power to the people. I'm a revolutionary. A 21-year-old young man from the west side of Chicago scared J. Edgar Hoover, Richard Nixon, Richard Daley, and Edward Hanahan. Think about that for a second. The free lunch that you got your kids get, the breakfast and all that stuff. The Panthers initiated that shit. The immunizations and all that. Panthers initiated all those programs that nobody talks about. Tommy Lauren and Megyn Kelly and all of them, they lied and say the Panthers were hate groups. They hated America. They never, not one time they ever came out of their mouth. They hated the people that ran this country. For 50 years, the Panthers' legacy has been twisted. When Barack Obama was in office, the head of the FBI decided we're going to do this because we're going to him Barack up, and Barack didn't say anything. He could easily went to the FBI or told Eric Holder, "Hey man, tell the FBI why they going after a 60-something-year-old black woman with Panthers." Well, they said she participated. They said she killed somebody. Well, there's evidence to suggest that it didn't go down that way. You got men and women who are Panthers been in jail since the 1960s. They made sure if they didn't kill the brothers and sisters, they made sure they kept them away. At least majority of the black men, because they didn't want them going around putting that stuff in our head about revolution or about self-determination. Even Dr. King came to the realization that the Panthers and them was on the right path. Remember, Dr. King told Harry Belafonte, "I'm afraid we're integrating our people into a burning house." And we got to be honest, the integration has hurt the black community because it's still parts of this society we haven't integrated in. There are communities that have never been black, and blacks have never lived in. There are places today that we still can't go without somebody giving us the evil eye. So you got a 21-year-old black man over there talking about we need to do this, we need to do that. We're brothers and sisters. Talk about equal rights for women as well. That get lost in the shuffle. But the women's movement have you think that black men wasn't. Remember, black men never told their women to go work the fields. Those women had no choice. Most black men did not want their women in the fields. They didn't want them in the big house. There were women that worked in our community. Brothers didn't like it, not because they were chauvinists, because they didn't want nobody to take advantage of their women. So black men have never been insensitive or insecure about their masculinity. That's a new trope that's been put out because, the so-called player and the pimps. Because the black man has been emasculated to a certain degree. You had brothers out there, even the gay brothers knew staying on code. The Panthers was not a hate group. Just like the Nation of Islam is not a hate group. But some private law on them, they got to designate as hate group because they have to find an equivalent. But for Disney to air this, not on a cable channel, but on the ABC network, it blew my mind. And it was a good documentary. And you know what? I had to say this is probably one of the best documentaries I've seen on TV. Because they didn't sugarcoat Fred Hampton. Notice some documentary they talk about it for maybe about a minute or two. They move it to the other part of the story because this story, Fred Hampton's story, never got any proper press. And they talk about the other killings, but it was mostly focused on Fred Hampton. And they even showed the brother laying in a coffin. Normally, they don't show stuff like that on TV because they say it's too sensitive for people. They showed old footage of Chicago, even color footage of Fred. This year marks the 50th anniversary. This brother was assassinated. They showed his son. And that brother grew up without his father. Think about it. The only way he could see his father in pictures and clips, and then didn't see that image of his father laying on that floor. Them cops assassinated him. I don't know if them cops still alive or not, but I know Daley, Hanrahan, Hoover, and Nixon is gone. Hanrahan died about, 8 years ago, if I'm not mistaken? I'm glad that the last 2 years we started seeing documentaries that actually talking about what went down and how Chicago was critical in the movement. It started out talking about Dr. King coming to Chicago. If y'all notice in my commentaries, I've been talking about 1966 in Chicago. I guess somebody either must have been watching my videos or actually paying attention to when the movement changed. When people who was supposed to be our allies started showing their true colors. And they didn't bleep the word nigger out. They let it play through. Oh, they bleeped some swear words out, but it's one that famous video where that white guy said, "Them effing niggers," they beeped that out, but the F word, but they said, "Them effing niggers don't live here, I live here." And they didn't bleep it. They didn't digitally try to erase their face, because some outlets try to protect these people. And the thing is, they know a lot of people still alive to this day. Don't think they ain't all dead. A lot of them were in their teens and 20s and their 30s. They still here. They're in their late 60s or early 60s. Some of them in their early 60s. Yeah, they was 10, 12 years old when King came to Chicago. They was in their late teens, early 20s, mid 20s, early 30s. A lot of them are still alive. Some of them probably ran over to Indiana, some out in the south suburbs, some in the western suburbs, some ran up north. But and some even still live in that area. They old now. The Hispanics have stopped moving up in there. But nonetheless, they still exist. And they interviewed one of the white guys that was part of Fred's security team. Yeah, they had white dudes provide security. He said, "Brother Fred." See, they don't want to interview them cats because it flipped everything, it turned everything upside down, what you thought about the 1960s and the Black Panther Party. Yes, there were white folks that stood with the Panthers. And I know y'all gonna say, oh, they did it because of the Vietnam War. Some of them did it because of the Vietnam War. They didn't want to go. They wanted to use us to be the ones to speak up and take all those things in errors. But there was some out there who actually were down with the community. And the thing is, when you come across these people, and I've come across these people over the years, I come across more blacks than whites, but when I come across some whites, I say, yeah, Fred Hampton was assassinated. He was a cool dude. He was speaking for the people, revolution for the people, by the people. He kept it playing. I'm like, wait a minute, because my head blowing. Listen to these white guys talk about this. It's just something the white lady, because they still hippies to this day. But a lot of them was out there protesting. We anti-war. They now vote to the right. Because they realize we got to have somebody sacrifice. It's better them than us. That's why when I do my commentaries, I call them type of people. I'm like, yeah, the very ones that bitching on about Vietnam, right around 1970 something, they flipped me. I'm gonna vote. I'm gonna vote. Maybe center left, or no center right. Then when Reagan come along and Reagan started talking all that stuff, we're gonna take the country back. All the strides that brothers and sisters have made in the civil rights movement, oh, we're gonna stop that. But the irony is when white men have been closing down those plants, those factories and steel mills. It wasn't black folk. But you need somebody to be the villain of the story. And that's what Fred Hampton, the Panthers, and the Nation of Islam, or any other black person or group that decided to call out the power struggle. But for Disney, to air this documentary on ABC, it blew my head away. Because as I said before, if you think they was going to do a documentary about it, you know they was going to take all the twisted crap that the media, because remember, ABC was around back in the 60s too now, NBC and CBS. And a lot of stories they pushed were lies or misinformation. But thank God them lawyers still alive, was able to write books. The members of the Panther was still here. Shaka Khan, she was friends of Fred Hampton. She don't talk about it much because she's been in Hollywood for the last 40-some years. I heard they say even there was a couple of Panthers that was on Dancing on Soul Train when Soul Train was still in Chicago. I don't know how true that is. Because the thing is, in our community, unfortunately, we don't question, we don't talk about our history. One or two people may know it and they take it to their grave. We don't talk about it. In Chicago, on the west side, that was been black for a minute, it should be a plaque at the spot where the Panther headquarters was at. It should be a damn statue. You know how you go places, this was such step, this is the spot, this is what they should, because let me tell you something. When the west side would have been flames and it was hurting, the Panthers went out there, said, we got to get brooms, we got to clean up, we got to do this, we got to do that, we can rebuild our community. And they didn't want that. People was cool with us struggling or out there running around. Go back and listen to how the news described the black community. The black ghetto, the black ghetto, the black ghetto. They labeled our communities ghettos, slums. They didn't want to keep saying that everybody black is in power. That's not true. There are a lot of working brothers and sisters on that side of town or on the south side of Chicago or around the globe. But Nixon and them knew Jews to me. That's why Roger Ailes he was working on Nixon. He went to them and said, hey, I have an idea about a television network. When he had the opportunity to meet Rupert Murdoch and say, hey, I got an opportunity. This is where we get Fox. That's why they got rid of their first doctrine back in the 80s. They knew they needed to have only their voices heard. And that's all you've been hearing, negative. Megyn Kelly talked about the Black Panthers every day when she was doing the daytime show on Fox. Then Tommy Lauren, get it. Who can I go vilify? Now, are the Panthers perfect or these other groups perfect? No. There's some people in the groups was doing some dirty shit. We got to be honest about that. There's some people that use the image of the Panthers to intimidate people. Yeah, we got to be honest with that. But that's a small group. But for the most part, the Panthers were about protecting people in general. Yes, they wanted black folk to really be the ones who benefit, but they was fair across the board, and they don't talk about that. So I give the people who produced that documentary, and I give the Disney Corporation credit because I think they gave on air. Not that way. Now, is this stuff still left out? Yeah, still, but that's the most I've seen in a long time. It was a documentary about the Panthers on PBS and give Fred Hampton that much story. They talked about how he was out there giving speeches and doing things. They talked about some of the other Panthers and stuff. And there were white people saying on that documentary how evil and misguided a lot of these white people were or still are. They said it's sickening. They hate somebody just because of colors. I mean, these are white people saying this on ABC, and I'm like, wow. But I want y'all to understand that we got to talk about our history. We got to pass our history down to the next generation. And I'm going to say this to our women. Yes, there's some women who are history buffs, but y'all not enough. Y'all need to ask your daddies, your mamas, your brothers, uncles, aunts. What happened prior to our birth? What happened when we was babies? What used to spend in that spot? What stories was in our community? What was the school like? What was the church like? What was the politicians like? What was the conditions of our community? This is why some of our people be repeating the dumb shit they wasn't taught. Don't do that. This are the consequences. Or this what could be the consequences. Because I'm telling y'all, usually white folks get involved in these type of stories. There's certain shit that's left out. And if it's left out long enough, and a brother like myself, or a brother or sister like yourself come along and say, that's not right. Well, the other documentaries say, wait a minute. Remember, I told y'all in the previous videos that there were store owners on the west side that purposely set their stores on fire. They told kids to go in there and rob it, get whatever they want, set fire, because they want the insurance money. I said the city of Chicago didn't want to investigate or the military because there were some people who were murdered. By accident, I came across an article about 2 weeks later, 2 weeks ago, excuse me. And it was talking about the murders that was covered up, the arson, the businesses that they was going to investigate, and the mayor and told them to leave it be. A lot of those store owners are still alive. They very old now. Their children still alive. They own that building or the frame or the structure. That plot of land, even though the building was gone, they still own that space. They held on it for years. Now you got developers coming in, buying it, and they selling it. But when blacks and niggas like, hey, let us get that land. Who own that land? They wouldn't let anybody get it. They didn't want any development. Now going parts on the west side, or they developing that land, but they pushing us out. You had Puerto Ricans up on the Logan Square talking about being pushed out. It was a matter of time. Now they see what we're talking about. They thought they wasn't going to get put out. Now they talking, we got to get together, form a coalition. Us poor working people. Wait a minute, hold on. Y'all went up there. Y'all got around close enough to them white folk. Y'all don't want a certain amount of blacks up there. Y'all harassed them. Now all of a sudden, y'all it pushing y'all out of communities and stuff. Now y'all want to team up. And black folk, we got to stop helping everybody else when nobody is standing to help us. People know how to use us to get ahead, but when we look for aid and comfort, there ain't nobody around. How we honor Fred Hampton and those other Panthers that lost their lives or still sitting in jail, waste away by doing right by ourselves and our community. But at the same time, we have to give a shout out to the ABC Corporation, Disney Corporation, and they sure as hell didn't add this documentary. Because they didn't hold nothing back. It was blowing my head away. And I had to wonder, was this something that sister did that was, but I said, she meant God. They could have easily not shown this. They don't, there's a lot of TV shows and stuff they don't show and they add something else. Maybe some people are tired of half the story. But I say this now, I say it again. We as black people gotta pass on that legacy. Wait for somebody else to do it. We just be shortchanging ourselves. But I gotta tell you, I am happy to know that there are people out there really do give a damn about history and will talk about it all the way through. So God bless you, Fred. God bless your family, man. Rest in peace, brother Fred.